Okay, everyone, welcome to the open house for Entertainment Wise. This is Mark Womack. I'm the broker handling this property, and with me is Andy Day. He is the seller of the site and the man that's going to help us run through all the details of the site today. Anybody that's in attendance, if you've got any questions, feel free to go ahead and type those into the chat. Everybody except Andy and myself are on mute. But we're going to go through and run through the presentation and what we've got, and any questions that you want to ask, go ahead and type them in at any time. If the question is applicable to something that Andy's talking about at that moment, I'll go ahead and interject it in there. And if not, at the end of the presentation, we do have a question and answer period, so I'll make sure and get all of the questions that anybody types in answered, I promise. So without further ado, thank you, Andy, for joining us this morning or this evening, depending on time differences. And let's take a look at what we've got. The basics of the deal. What we're looking at is a well-established site. This is a 10-year-old site that has a great track record, and at this point, where it's being offered is an amazing price point. We've got at $142,000 in profit over the last 12 months, and yet we're only listing and selling the site for $200,000, which is less than 2 times annual profit. So not a multiple that you often see on Latonas. So hopefully anybody paying attention to this is ready to move quickly on this, as we've got a feeling it's not going to be around very long. As I said, the site's got a great history. We've got a Google page rank of 5. I've got tons of inbound links and backlinks, and as the presentation goes through, we're going to go ahead and get into that a bit deeper so that you can see some more information about it. But the reality is this is a well-established site with a huge archive of content and a good bit of traffic coming in just strictly organically. Let's take a look at the history of the site, and here I'm going to show, I've got a few slides to show. Andy, if you could you kind of just talk us through the history of the site, how it got started, how we got to where we are today with it?
Yeah, sure. It's part of a sort of bigger independent publishing business that we started that was based around a music website, Gigwise, that we own. And we realized a lot of the sort of celebrity music stories were doing really, really well. So we came up with the idea of launching Entertainment-Wise, sort of house the content that was doing much better than the music content, actually. And yeah, we created this website, and it kind of just grew naturally from there over the years. Really, it's always performed really, really well, and it's apart from some very small costs, which is photo licenses and journalists, it pretty much just generates traffic on its own. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really. Here's the Facebook page in particular brings in quite a lot of traffic for us.
Excellent. Well, you've got 30. I mean, when this screen cap was taken by our analysts, there's almost 37,000 likes on the Facebook page. That's a significant amount for sure. And let's see, we've got the data going back on the Wayback Machine, so proof that the site's been around for so long, but easy enough to research and show that. Let's talk about some of the analytics. I mean, we can see the traffic that's coming through. This looks like we've got the past year of traffic up to January 25th on that. Given some of the higher volume a little bit further back in time, it looks almost like a flat line, but keep in mind the scale of that, folks. There's still quite a bit of traffic coming through. Primarily United States, UK, Canada. As always, we've got India in the mix. Hey, even the Philippines, where I'm based out of. As you can see, organic traffic is a majority of it, but still a very high amount of direct traffic coming through, which is great, and social. I'm looking through search terms, certainly celebrity stuff.
Yeah.
And let's see what else we've got. Good split, mobile and desktop and tablets, of course. And then looking through it, Majestic. I mean, for those that were watching this that are familiar with what Majestic shows and the data that you see there, I mean, the count of backlinks is really through the roof on that. It's rare to see such a great spread of those. 205,000 external backlinks. That's something you get with a 10-year-old successful site, not with a 2-year-old site. Um, Breakdown of what the backlinks are, what's linking over. Um, MTV. There you go. Wikipedia, VH1. Um, Here we've got the SCM rush. I'm kind of backing up some of the same details that we saw on the other, but still 11.5 backlinks they're showing, which is huge. Organic search is where it's all coming in. Um, the SCM rush kind of gives you an estimate of what all of that organic search is worth, and they're listing it at $11,200, which you're basically getting that for free when you buy the site, which is excellent. It's one of the huge benefits of buying such an established site. And more breakdowns on the backlinks, and then let's look at the traffic. Now, this is where I was talking about when we're looking at the Google Analytics breakdown. It almost looks like a flat line, and there certainly has been a decline, but we're still looking at 500,000 uniques a month, which is still huge traffic.
Yeah, and that's without it being updated since the end of April. So you can see there, we actually sort of we reduced the size of the team in February, and then April we stopped updating the site at the end of April. So you can see it's actually just kind of flatlined since then. But if there was updates added to the site every day, it shouldn't be too hard to get that back up at least halfway or all the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it dropped down pretty over what 3-4 months to get to the flat line that it's at. So I mean, I would think at worst, given the amount of organic traffic that you've got and all the backlinks, a buyer would be looking at start updating it in 3-4 months. A pretty safe expectation to get back into that range. Um,
Yeah.
and as we'll get to a slide of the day-to-day operations, but anybody listening in, it's not going to take a lot of work to get this site updating at all. Here we go with the views, of course, parallels to what we're doing on the uniques. Speaking of what it takes to get the site operational and running, I mean, it's running now, but it's on the back end of WordPress. I mean, anybody and everybody at this point should be familiar with how to utilize WordPress, and all of the pieces of the puzzle are built in, configured, ready to go, which is a really great thing about the site. It's not like any buyer's going to have to come in and revamp the site and redo it. Finding staff that's familiar with how to work within WordPress is, I mean, dime a dozen, completely very easy. As you can see, well organized, all the themes, all the plugins, all the contents in there. We've only got, what have we got active? Only 12 active plugins, so it's not like it's completely hammered with a bunch of custom plugins. Easy enough to work. And we've got a theme already. You can see we're using buzz quizzes. And then let's talk about revenue. This is the revenue for the most part that's kind of coming in, again, just based off of the traffic that's flowing in. But Andy, we just talked about before the call, the spike there that we're seeing in February. That was an advertiser that bought a year worth of advertising and paid 6 months up front and then monthly.
That was the final payment. It was actually a couple of months. I think it was 2 or 3 months at once. So it was the final payment there. But yeah, they basically paid the previous year's ad revenue more or less in sort of 3 or 4 payments. So yeah, that spike there is the final payment of that 12-month ad deal. But it was based on the ad revenue that we generate normally when it's being updated. So.
Understood. Got you. Well, looking at I mean, I don't necessarily have a slide for this, so let's take this opportunity to kind of talk about how the ad revenue was working and what it's doing. I mean, ultimately, you're dealing with ad networks. You've got the ad campaigns up and running with the different ad networks. You've got occasional premium campaigns and then occasional sponsored posts where somebody wants to pay for particular posts. And that's basically it, right?
Yeah, it's mostly network stuff. We get we get a decent amount of revenue from Taboola as well, which has a content widget in the footer. And then there's sort of in-ad advertising, um, page skin, in-skins, and sort of wallpaper type advertising. So it's pretty well monetized, and it's just a case of really keeping up to date with which networks are performing the best. And like I was saying earlier, there's good opportunity for native advertising now. We get quite a few sort of requests for sponsored posts, even still while it's not being updated. So I'm sure while it is being updated, there will be a bigger market for that sort of thing as well.
Even more people coming in and requesting and showing interest for that. Yeah, I mean, it's from the looks and the read of what I'm seeing here, it's a scenario where it's not going to be something that's going to be very difficult to run. I mean, you've already got the ad network relationships in place. You've already got all the mechanics to be able to run those advertisements. It's simply a question of keeping an eye on which ad networks are performing the best. And I'm sure as this site is starting to get updated, as the traffic is growing, the ad networks are going to start hitting up the new owner quite aggressively.
Definitely. Yeah,
Excellent.
there's a lot of, I mean, the ad networks are in touch almost daily. There's obviously a lot of new networks starting up, and there's a lot of competition for signing up new publishers and offering perks and better ad rates. So almost definitely they're going to be inundated with that sort of thing, having to find which network is even better than the ones that are plugged in already.
And not that I would ever say you necessarily want to play one ad network off of the other. I will say I've got experience with getting payouts increased doing that. But of course, anybody that's looking at this seriously would understand that. Expenses, as we can see, it has dropped significantly. I mean, my understanding is right now the hosting is on a fixed per month package with GoDaddy, and ultimately that's about the only expense now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it could be if somebody was bringing in a big amount of traffic, they might want to upgrade the hosting a little bit. But certainly at the moment, there's a lot of good WordPress sort of bulletproof, um, managed hosting solutions that are very, very inexpensive. So that yeah, the actual costs on day-to-day running would be, I mean, if they're updating again, you may need a photo agency, hosting, and
Some
if
editorial
there was
stuff.
extra writers, then that's pretty much it really.
Yeah, I mean that's here. Next slide. Nice segue. Thank you, Andy. Is telling us about the day-to-day operation of the site. I mean, from talking with you, it's looks like editorial staff, somebody that's really into and writing on it. They would need one writer, and then somebody to kind of manage the advertisements. The ad networks come in, and from the
Yeah,
sounds of it, that's about it.
it is pretty much it. I think, I mean, anybody who's really into sort of celebrity and gossip, we do well on a lot of sort of celebrity fashion sort of things as well. Anybody that's interested in that would basically be able to update this, post onto Facebook, post onto Twitter, and they would be bringing in a decent amount of traffic.
Yeah, you
So
guys are in Google News, right? Sorry,
sorry.
you're in Google News as well, right? Forgot to
That's right.
throw
Yeah,
that in on
we're in Google
earlier.
News as well. We are in Google News, which brings in a lot of traffic. And the great thing about being on Google News is really that anything that's currently topical, you jump ahead of a lot of sites that may have great SEO for that, as Google puts the news story right at the top of any search results. So it's a great way of bringing in traffic if you're up to date and updating the website on a daily basis to get that sort of competitive traffic into the site.
Excellent, excellent. So, I mean, ultimately, a writer, just one person to go in and update all, create those ever popular top 10 lists.
Yeah, well, as well, listicles is a big part of it, and as you could see earlier when we were looking at the plugins, we've got a sort of BuzzFeed style quiz plugin as well, and those are great sort of opportunities to create viral content that gets shared a lot.
Gotcha.
So yeah, anybody that's really interested in this sort of stuff will be able to update it quite easily because it's all over the gossip sites. But like we've been saying, it's a very well established site based around um, very well-known names like Kardashians or Kanye, and they can bring in really, really big amounts of traffic very quickly.
Excellent.
But also, yeah, it's all about viral opportunities as well. I think if you look through the presentation that you put together, you can see that even though we've not been updating it for 8 or 9 months, there was a spike in the middle of nowhere. Don't know if
Hmm.
you remember seeing that, but
Yep.
that was about somebody going on a Tinder date. Um,
That was it.
but these things get in a fat suit. But these things get reshared over and over again. So it really is an opportunity to create sort of shareable content, and because Antenwise is so well established, it just tends to bring in the traffic for it. So
Excellent, excellent. Well, again, that's the huge appeal of this for any buyer that's listening to this or watching this video later should really take into consideration is that this isn't you're not starting from scratch trying to create a buzz. You're taking a site that's been around for 10 years and already has an established brand and just taking the ball and running with it again, which is frankly a heck of a lot easier these days. No, I don't want to discount any of the efforts you did, Andy, 10 years ago. But I mean, I've been in this game, and I'll tell you, 10 years ago, it was a lot easier to get something up and
it
running to
was,
this size.
yeah, it was a level playing field then. But there's a lot of established old media companies in the game now. So yeah, anybody who's looking to start out, this is a way to sort of jump in, or anybody with an established network already, this is a great way to bring in some quick and easy traffic into their bigger network.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And I mean, I think we've talked about site growth and future expectations already pretty extensively. The simple fact
Mhm.
is, just need to get on and start posting content again. All the other
We just
pieces
need
of
to
the
update
puzzle
it.
are there already. All right.
Exactly.
And then the magic question. Please tell us why you are selling the site, sir. I mean, I've had so many people
Um,
ask already.
well, as you can see, we're not updating it anymore. As a company, we're a bigger sort of publishing company that has other interests, and we've just moved on to other things basically. Um, it's a great site, but our sort of passions have always been around music, and we've had bigger opportunities in doing stuff on some of our other projects, our other websites. So it's just a case of our passions aren't here anymore, and we've moved on. But it's a great opportunity for somebody, definitely.
Absolutely. I can completely understand having had enough of Kanye and Kim. Indeed. Okay, I've got, let's see. This takes us to the question and answer functional or section of it. I have seen a couple of questions get posted in here that I don't necessarily know that we've addressed yet. There's pretty standard stuff though. There's one of our attendees posted a question asking about whether or not the existing accounts with the ad networks would be transferable. Um, and Andy, correct me if I'm wrong. This is one that we kind of get answered or asked quite a bit, but I'll throw out our standard answer on it, which is it varies depending on the networks. You know, some things like Google AdSense you're not supposed to transfer, but any that can be transferred, I think Andy would be willing to do that. Any that can't, then
Yeah.
you can certainly set up a new account, and then from within the WordPress backend, it's easy enough to switch out the linking structure. That,
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of ad networks will just allow you to update your own company details in their admin area, and the ones that don't, that we have direct relationships with, they would just open a new account and continue managing it.
Easy enough. Easy enough. All right, and let's see. No, I'm just looking through the questions. Yep, we've already covered that one. Okay, well, actually, I think that's about it. Andy, anything else you want to add while we're recording?
Um, Not massive amounts, but as I've said, it's a great opportunity. There's nothing essentially wrong with the site. It just needs updating. It's a great site. It's well respected. It's well known. It's just not been doing much for the last 8 or 9 months. But if it was doing, I think it's a great step up for somebody looking to break into that, and it's a great opportunity for somebody.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. It's a great opportunity for if somebody's looking to just a smaller outfit, just honestly a one man or one woman show should be able to manage this and effectively grow it all on their own. Or as you mentioned, Andy, if it's somebody that's already got a network, then they certainly could add this into the mix to help grow their entire network, and they would most likely already have the infrastructure of a single writer, a single content person, because that's really all we're looking at.
Yeah, there's a lot of bloggers out there that are happy to add content to this sort of site as well for not very much money.
Oh yeah,
So it'd be easy to build up a quick team
indeed.
that we're able to.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think that's about it. But of course, hi, I'm Mark. I'm the broker. Here's all of my contact information. Anybody that's listening to this, either on the live webinar we're doing now, or if you're watching the video of this later on latonas.com, and you've got any other questions, by all means, feel free to hit me up. You can reach me at mark@latonas.com, on Skype, mark.latonas. I am always around. Any questions at all, forward my way, hit me up. Of course, we've got a lovely prospectus document that our in-house analysts put together that I can make available to folks as well. Or any questions that I can't answer, I'll be more than happy to get them over to Andy. Or if we've got somebody that really wants to kind of pick Andy's brain, Andy's a very engaged seller and easy to get on a phone call with him and kind of go through more nitty gritty details. The only warning or caveat I would give is do it quickly. In all honesty, everybody says this site's going to sell quickly, but this site will sell quickly. It's very rare for us to have a 10-year-old site of such high quality going for such a great price point. So don't dally. And, I'll leave it at that. And Andy, I want to thank you very much for your time. Stick with me after we're done recording this. We've got a few other things to discuss. And folks, thanks for attending the open house for Entertainment Wise.